Hey everyone, I'm Minty, and welcome to the opening ceremonies of the Syndicate of the Black Sun Squadron Shootout. It's finally here. This tournament has been in the building for, a long time now. I don't even know how long it's been since I first announced this thing. But this is it. The roster is finalized. We're about to generate the bracket. The first video should be out tomorrow, barring things exploding on me. So yeah, we ended up with 29 entries out of the 32 slots I wanted to fill. Pretty respectable showing there. Thank you everybody who submitted a design, all you wonderful people here in this list. Put forth a lot of effort, a lot of time building things for this tournament. I really appreciate it. And it was a wild ride walking through all those vessels and checking them for all the various things. So those of you who don't know, who may not have been paying attention to the forum here, the Squadron Shootout is a more modernized tournament, but it has a focus on semi-realism. Now, this is not a replica tournament, okay? I'm not expecting people to build full-on replicas and things that look realistic and everything. When I say semi-realism, I want things like, for example, propulsion cannot be internal to the craft because that would not work. Data blades and propellers and jets and things need to have intakes and exhausts. They can't be fully hidden inside the thing. Nothing can really be fully hidden. Accessibility is the key thing to the aesthetics restrictions in this. Like, for example, you can't just build a turret or a wall of armor around a turret that fits it like a glove and leaves no space for you to get inside. There has to be room for people, as if these ships were being manned by actual people and had to move through and work and operate and maintain these vessels. There are some things that are kind of like, if it were a real thing, this probably wouldn't be very practical or effective, but it technically fits the rules. But that's the general theme of this tournament. Very futuristic things like particle cannons, weaponized lasers, and shields are banned. So are the ion thrusters. I banned the small and huge jet engines, but I left the custom ones in place because I didn't want super maneuverable aircraft that can basically dodge anything by turning on a dime with the very little investment that the small and huge jet engines require. But custom jet engines take a lot of investment, so if you use those for maneuvering, good on you. EMP, graviton ram rounds are banned because they're just funky. Railguns, all of these things you see here. That's all banned. There's an autoloader restriction so that you have to have exactly 13 components in your ammo customizers for advanced cannons. There has to be a minimum of 3 vessels. There's a flagship and 2 escort ships. The flagship has 150,000 materials budget. The escorts have 75,000 materials budgets. The flagship must be a surface vessel. I have defined a surface vessel as a displacement hull craft that sits on the surface of the water, such as a battleship or an aircraft carrier. Thus, a non-surface craft would be an aircraft or a submarine of some sort. So you are required to have a surface vessel, a non-surface vessel, and then the third is a wild card that can be whatever you want. I've actually had some people make ships that look like, a normal everyday cruiser, but it's actually a submarine or as an airship, or, people have gotten creative. Let's put it that way. I like a lot of these things. Each thing. The flagship, sub-vehicles are allowed, okay? But for sub-vehicles, they have to conceivably be able to be carried into battle and worked on and maintained by the crew of the vessel that they're attached to. So things like making 2 vessels of the same exact thing that are just half the materials cost were not allowed. Some out of the box thinking things like allowing, attaching seaplanes to vessels that don't have like a landing strip, or they're obviously not aircraft carriers, but have them be towed behind the vessel. That was something that I did allow. But there has to be some feasible way that your sub-vehicle is attached to the vessel and then detaches to go fight. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be attached at the beginning of the fight. In fact, with the way the spawn sticks and everything works, that's actually kind of impossible. But it is what it is. we'll get through it. And yeah, the out of bound rules, I'm gonna be a little bit looser with them than I have been in the past. I've been pretty rigid with them, and a lot of people don't like that, and I've kind of agreed on some things, so I'm going to be a little bit looser with them. I'm not going to be quite as picky with them, and I'm actually going to be reworking the out of bounds rules entirely for Season 3 of the Battleship Brawl, which, yes, that is coming, but that's still a ways off, not until this tournament is over. It's automatic detection, and it was restricted to 32 entries, you know. And here's the big thing. This tournament has an actual prize. The Syndicate of the Black Sun has sponsored this tournament and has offered up $40 worth of Steam gift cards to the first place winner, $20 to the second place, and $10 to the third place. So, those will be delivered either via Steam gift or email, depending on how the Syndicate wants to handle that and how the people who win want to do it. And that's basically it. So these 29 vessels here is everything that was submitted and approved on time before the deadline, before I closed submissions. Okay, all these people, and you can see there were some that were worked on by a couple of people, like the second Special Assault Squadron was done by Marion and Diaz Kincaid. Team Striker was done by Chromoid and Charcharodon. You know, collaborative works were allowed. There was nothing against that. So, yeah, that's basically it. So all we have left to do here is I just copy this nice handy-dandy little list, which is part of the reason why I keep the roster like that, into here, bulk add. Bam! It just generated the seeds, and now I wish there was a better way to do the seeding than just random seed generation, but unfortunately there isn't. So I'm just going to click this a bunch of times, and then there we have our seeding. And where's the button to go to the... there's the bracket. There it is. And so here we are. This is the bracket. Our first battle looks like it will be the Mesothysis Strike Force by... shoot. I can't... by Kneecap, if you hover over there. And then the Kraken Unleashed by Slim Pickens. Depending on the lengths of the battles, I'm still going to be shooting for that 20 to 30 minute of video per day thing that I did with the Battleship Brawl Season 2. I'm still going to be shooting for that window. I'm going to do the battles individually so they're easier to find. And so we'll probably see we'll definitely see the Mesothysis Strike Force by Kneecap and the Kraken Unleashed by Slim Pickens in Episode 1. And then Episode 2 will be Battle Barge Incorporated by Varian 101 against the Surface Fleet by Ivan. And then, it'll just go on the list. And this is a double elimination tournament, as is the most of my tournaments have been at this point, or at least a good number of them. And there were a couple of buys, just because 29 is not a power of 2. So what happens there is the game has to give a couple, or the bracket has to give a couple of people some buys in order to make it work, so that it can be divided by 2 repeatedly until there's only 1 left. Okay, so it looks like this is going to be a 56 episode long tournament. So about a month. 3 weeks to a month is how long this tournament's going to take to run. So it'll be probably be ending right about Thanksgiving time, which is perfect. Sounds good to me. Yeah, it definitely works for me. All right, yeah. Let me think. Oh, the tournament format is going to be the match format. I mean, is going to be best 2 out of 3 as usual. And they will be 10-minute rounds. There is no hit point requirement in this tournament. Okay, if you have 1% difference in hit points, then you win. Like at the end of the thing, if you have a 1% difference in hit points, that's enough to win. It has to be a full 1% though. If you're equal, then what I'll do is I'll extend the time by like 2 minutes, and then check the hit points again, and whoever has the most hit points at that point will be the winner. And if I'll just keep extending it by a couple of minutes until somebody wins. All right, yeah. So this is the spot. This right here is where everybody wants to get. This right here is where the prizes are at. Whoever wins this and wins this. Well, whoever wins this will get a prize, and whoever participates in this will get a prize. So, yeah, that's where everybody wants to get. But we're still way over here. You got a long way to go, folks. But it'll be a good time. Yeah, I'm getting Discord messages. It's flashing down there on the screen. But anyway, so see you tomorrow for that first video. As long as things don't, like suddenly go nuclear on me or anything. But that is my plan. I plan on recording the first episode here right after I finish with this, and then we'll be on our way. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this tournament, and I will see you on the battlefield.